And we are live. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Happy
There's
Sunday.
not many ladies, lady boys perhaps. Tim Tam watching in the wings, perhaps. So, how was your trip to Lisboa?
Yeah, it was really good, man. Actually, Lisbon's a really cool place. Really enjoyed it. Met up with a friend of mine. Went to see the band Suede, English band Suede, playing on Saturday night. They were playing in this old, really good venue, actually. This old bull ring.
Oh,
Like
right.
a sort of, circular venue with the seats all around the side and everything. It was great, actually. Really, really, they were brilliant. Well, Lisbon was great. I did some filming over there and stuff like that. Stayed in a pretty nice hotel, actually. Got a decent rate on quite an upscale hotel, so that was good. And it was cool. The weather wasn't great, but what can you do?
Yeah, 20th of March. What do you expect in Europe? That's the problem.
Yeah. It was raining for like the first day, and then it sort of cleared up a little bit. And it's getting quite spring-like now. There's people out and about. So Europe's waking up, but it's a slow process.
Indeed, I like the fact it was in a bull ring because I've seen a couple of bullfights in my time. There's something primal about it. I know it's cruel in inverted commas.
Have you seen it live?
Yeah, I have in Spain a few times. Yeah, and these really. I think it's been banned officially for a long time, but they always just had these dodgy carnival style ones on. And I've also run with the bulls in Pamplona, which is an experience. That's you get absolutely hammered. You wake up early at like 5 a.m., go down to the streets, the sun's rising, and they unleash these bulls, and you just see people getting skewered because people are drunk and still hungover. Yeah, there's these huge bulls race through the streets, and people just get gored, and they play out on TV the best gorings of the day. People die and shit. It's crazy. It's mental. The Spanish just don't give a shit. Sitting there smoking their fags, their Marlboro Reds, cackling at the TV, watching people getting skewered. It's something I'd recommend actually on every man's bucket list. That sounds really good. As is coming to Colombia with myself, Troy, Les, and a certain sleazy Mexican man, David Garcia, for the House of Seduction, mid-April. So if you haven't got your ticket, send us an email, info@jamestuss.com or troy@realtroyfrance.com. 7 days in a luxury mansion with wing girls helping you approach. Day game, night game, bringing girls back to the pad, house party vibes. We've run this model a few times. It's the biggest and best version we've ever run this one round, and it's going to be phenomenal. So get in touch for that.
It's going to be off the hook, isn't it? Really, this time
we might actually have to retire because it's going to be so afterwards for at least a day or something. so hectic, and we're going to have obviously the much loved client, Big Mike McCarthy down there. The much loved client Walrus, for those of you that know him. The much loved client, our current project, Mr. Wigfield, who we've taken from zero to hero.
Saturday night dance, I like the way you move.
We're going to have potentially Mr. M is threatening a comeback, and we've told him, look, Mr. M, there's no buffaloes in Bogota, and he's how to come out.
So I think what we need to do over there is, because I've always felt for years, and I did do a little bit of this actually a few years ago, but I think filming when you're out and about in Bogota specifically, and maybe some of these other Latin places as well, is really cool, because I've been watching, as I said before the stream, some of this Clavicular stuff, or some of the clips anyway, and what seems to be happening. To be fair to Clavicular, because I know, I'm not on board really with the looks wax and stuff and whatever, but to be fair to him, at least he's doing what actually we were doing a few years ago, which is going out, interacting with girls, and actually putting it out live, And I think we can either try to go live. I don't know how the tech's going to work for this, but we could either try and go live in some of the clubs, or at least film it and then get some clips from that, put them out, just interacting with the women there, having a good time. But the good thing about his stuff is it's not like this kind of old school gamey stuff. He's not like doing the cube or sort of asking if she's French. He's just literally out there, just interacting with these girls, and some of it's quite funny, some of it's, whatever, some crazy things happen, and just putting it all out there. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we should get that stuff because people want to view it, don't they? I think for the average guy watching, though, there does need to be a nuance here, which is there's a big culture, as you always talk about now, on memes, on grabbing attention. The recent, thing that everyone quite liked was Piers Morgan being made a fool out of by HS TikTok. And we live in this kind of culture now where everyone's just trying to grab likes. So I wouldn't necessarily say Clavicular's game is necessarily worth copying because he's hacking fame and status. So
yeah, I mean,
that's a key nuance guys need to remember is like say controversial shit. Though you sent me a clip earlier, which is actually on point, which is say he calls it out of the pocket stuff. Say stuff that kind of is polarizing and ruffles people's feathers. But just remember when you're watching him approaching women, it's not necessarily reflective of what we'd consider game that will work all the time because he's people know who he is, right?
Yeah.
So I think take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And also we changed slightly, don't we? Because when we've got a camera there and the girl can see it on a night out, we've done that previously in Colombia. The whole dynamic changes because people get drunk and they want to play up to the camera. But again, that's not necessarily how you do it if you're just rolling up to them in a casual bar one-on-one, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, actually, a very good point about Clavicular because obviously he is famous.
And they can see a camera there. They're streaming live, right? Yeah. So the women are like, oh, shit. Oh, it's him. Oh, maybe I'm going to get... And suddenly they're they might be more polarizing. Was he getting any terrible reactions?
Well, there's a great clip from the other night when a girl basically slapped him around the face. And then he got his security to hold her and he called the police, which is quite funny. And apparently he's going to sue her now. Because he's like, these women can't get away with being disrespectful like this. So
was it hard slap or was it kind of...
Yeah, quite hard, yeah. What, but apparently in the run-up to it, he'd been goading her. She'd been saying, can I slap you? And he'd be going, yeah, go on then, try it or something. So it's
that's a bit cheeky then, isn't it? To have security hold her and fucking call the police. That's just fucking...
Yeah, I think, a little bit. But it's I mean, the thing is, regardless, it's all fun stuff. And at least I would agree with you. The thing with Clavicular is he doesn't do game in any sense that the old bald manosphere boomers would recognise it. Do you know what I mean?
Northern boomers drinking their Yuki Brown. Broody, we know where you are.
Yeah. I mean, Broody would have to go and lie down in a darkened room if he saw his game because it's not authentic, But who gives a fuck? Because he's out and he's interacting with these women and he's showing it. Now, yes, you have to take it with a healthy pinch of salt because, of course, he's famous. He is good looking, but more important than that, the girls know who he is and he's being filmed and he's a celebrity and a lot of these girls want to get a bit of celebrity clout. But in saying all of that, if you can hold that in your head, then the other side of it is he's just out and about interacting with people in a funny way, and that's kind of half the battle, really, isn't it?
It is, and I think something we want to really emphasize moving forward is yes, we are day game purists in the sense we believe cold approach, getting off the apps, technically in the day is the best way to hack sleeping with hot women. We still genuinely both believe that, but the integrated modern day 2026 man needs to realize, as your old pal TT would say 8 minutes in, respect the hustle. It doesn't matter how you fucking get laid if you're getting laid. Some of the guys that get laid the most I've ever seen out of anyone are promoters who have incredible amounts of access to hot women and they drink a lot. They don't even have great social skills, but they've got massive access. They've got desensitization to beauty, and they've got this position of power. And they get laid like absolute rock stars, right? The game purists will be spinning in their seat with fury. Broody, we love you, but you'll hate that idea that these guys can get laid a lot because you think, as the many guys, and I'm not, pigeonholing you. I'm just saying, using his example, you like the old school day game textbook stuff, the Krauser model, which is great. There's a beauty to that rolling around Poland, approaching very feminine, hot Polish women, using that as the only way. But I think what we need to realize is we now live in a time of unlimited opportunity and respect the hustle. I don't personally, me and Troy don't give a fuck how you get laid. If you get laid, we think personally still cold approach is the best way to do this because it's like a stack habit, like going to the gym. There's so many benefits to doing this, learning to become emotionally resilient, learning to deal with your own anxieties, fears, learning to just go head forth into rejection, learn to be charismatic and hold court and influence and persuade. These are all skill sets coming alongside cold approach. But ultimately, you want to be mixing different methodologies, right? And you want to be mixing in things like we use gray area apps, right? But not the traditional way even of using that. I might get the crumpled notes out one time to get in front of the girl, and then I'm running game on her and flipping her into a freebie. Yeah. And that's very cool. Guys will be like, oh, what? You're doing that? It's like, yeah, why not? A couple of easy bangs twice a week as a supplements cold approach. And I know that then I can gain the girls and add them to my roster. Why the fuck not? Right. So I think be adaptable is what I'm trying to say. And be open-minded. These days of like, it's got to be day game or it's got to be apps or it's got to be it's like, no, be adaptable, be fluid, realize the market now, because it's so interconnected, is extremely fluid in the way it operates. And you can be people like people like this Clavicular guy. He's hacked it in his own sense. He doesn't need to run around the streets and do traditional day game, does he?
Yeah. Although they do some stuff on the streets as well. There's not proper day game, but they'll go around the streets. It's just interesting that there's a new generation of people who are making content of actually interacting with real life women.
Well, you can argue as well, rolling around the streets with a camera, it's almost a cheat code, because if you've got a bit of a high channel, you could do that and you can get laid like a rock star without ever having to actual proper kind of off-camera cold approach, right?
You could say we actually we paved the way for Clavicular, because we were doing this in St. Petersburg and Moscow, weren't we, years ago?
I look back to that now and I just think, fuck, we were lucky we didn't get arrested by the secret police. I mean, we're streaming every day, but there was that one time where this guy who looked like Steve Jabber followed us in the dark shades.
That's true, and I never really.
But now I think, because I know more about Russia and you see what actually goes on, I think, was he actually checking up on us? If we went back now, what would they be like? Oh, we remember you fuckers.
Yeah, I don't know. But the only criticism I can make of Nicholas Adolf Krauser is that in his 75 books about Durgame, he didn't go into enough detail. There's a lot more detail about it than he managed to get into.
Do the day game purists have any ground to stand on, or are they out of touch, Mr. Francis? Would you say actually it is about being?
I think the fundamentals
to be able to be. You've got to kind of. I don't know. How would you merge that stuff with what?
Well, I think the fundamentals are all correct, or they're all still valid. If you look at the London day game model, for example,
it's still valid, isn't it? Because we were giving it to a recent client, and because he was all over the show with his conversations, it gives you a very succinct structure to follow, to internalize, and it is valid. Still.
Exactly. But it's just a conversation structure. It's just an outline of, right, this is basically how a conversation would go. So I think it's absolutely valid to know that. And you can use that even in the nighttime, you can use it in the daytime, you can use it in bars. Broadly speaking, this is kind of how a conversation should go. But I think beyond that, you've got to recognize so much more comes into it now. You know, money comes into it, Instagram clout comes into it, e-celebrity, fame comes into it. There's all of these different things now that just those guys just didn't take any account of. And
hormone management as well, super important, isn't it? Seeing what's going on in your bloods. Like most clients we work with, low testosterone, fucked up thyroid, and they wonder, why they don't feel horny. It's like, get your bloods looked at, get on CRT if you need to, or at least optimize it naturally. The fashion as well, the building a social circle with the Instagram stuff, super important. You've got to become the complete man now. You can't, although you could argue now with the advent of AI, can you actually go back to the Neil Strauss days of faking it? And you don't need to be.
When you think about it, though, that little clip that I found of Clavicular this morning, and he was saying, like you said, say out of pocket stuff. So what he meant by that was just drop in random stuff. Like he said to some guy, I can't remember what the quote was now, so it's going to ruin it. But he said something like, "Oh, do you ever think about when you're dead or something?" And she's like, "What?" And then he was talking about saying the N-word and saying like shocking things just randomly in the conversation. I saw another clip of him where he's talking to girls about doing meth. They're like, "What the fuck?" But he makes the point, and it's actually a very perceptive point, that when you do that, you kind of, you create a bit of shock. You break the normal pattern, don't you? He says at the beginning, it shouldn't be like a job interview, which is what we say all the time. So, the purists would not Clavicular, and I'm not saying he's some kind of godlike game genius, but that's actually a very perceptive thing to say, isn't it?
True. Yeah. It's about self-amusement, enjoying just your own experience of socializing and not pandering to people and being willing to polarize, being willing to, the Mark Manson thing, be a total joke to one woman, to be a hero to another the next minute. And those things I think guys struggle with, because a lot of guys are still basing it purely on, they want to be liked by women as a general thing, rather than realizing, right, some women are going to be really into you and a lot are really not, and that's okay. And it doesn't have any impact on your self-worth. And if it does, you need to work on your self-perception, your self-image you have of yourself, because it's too based on external validation,
Absolutely.
So without further ado, today's topic is the brutal truth about men who never learn game. No, just game. Core truth that people avoid. Okay, that's something completely different. go back to actually what we're talking about. And we will, of course, actually this Wednesday coming up, we've got our horny Mexican. I've got to stop saying that. We've got David Garcia. He's not even Mexican. I think he's second generation Mexican. Of Mr. Flirt with the World, who's helping us co-run the House of Seduction, joining us on the stream this Wednesday. And Monsieur Bonaparte will be back on as well, I'm sure.
What time is the David one? Are we doing it later in the day? Or is it
4 p.m. London.
Right, okay.
Which is 1 p.m. my time, Brazil. So the brutal truth about men who never learn game. Number one, as usual, we got some key points we've carefully crafted, and we may spin off on various tangents, and we'll do some parish notices at the end. They leave their dating life to luck. So most men never develop the skill of meeting women. So their dating life depends on random social circles, work events, dating apps, chance encounters. That means very little control over outcomes. The men who learn game create opportunities. The men who don't wait for them. By learning game, I really think we just mean Dr. Iran Taraban's Site Hacks talks about dating like it's your job. And I think, would you argue still men need to go through an immersive period of just hardcore approaching, typically come on a boot camp, do 200 approaches with us, and then actually hit it fucking hard for a few months just to bed this down as a skill set? Would you still think that's relevant in March 2026? Or is that outdated?
Yeah, I think so. Because if you're very rusty or you haven't actually approached many people in the past or whatever, then you have to break the back of it somehow. I think some sort of immersive period is definitely a good thing. I don't think then necessarily then going on for the rest of your life, going, right, I'm going to go down the shopping mall, I'm going to do me 700 approaches. I don't think that's then the right way to go, because that's just it's not very normal, is it? It's a bit weird, and you've probably got better things to do. But I think at the beginning, yeah, for sure. And obviously the great thing with, say, a boot camp is because it's a short, sharp shock, isn't it? You come 4 days, 4 to 7 days, get absolutely into it, hammer it for that period of time, then look at the results. We tabulate the results, we feed back, we course correct, and then you go away from that, and then you tone it down a bit. So maybe you're doing 3 to 5 approaches a day, but you've got the tailwind then, haven't you, from all of that momentum that you built up.
Super important. Yeah, completely agree. And the best place to do that, obviously, guys can train in London with you, but it's way better to come to a place where the women are more promiscuous, more sexual, and they see you as a shiny object because you're a foreigner, and a place where there's not many foreigners. For example, Qatar in mid-April, or Argentina, Buenos Aires, the end of April, or if that doesn't tickle your fancy, then mid-May, Warsaw, the jewel in the European crown of our tour.
Warszawa.
One could say it's still awesome, and you get all these day game guys, or the day game guys who are there tend to do their approaching in this shopping mall called Lossi Terrassi. So if you just avoid that and approach anywhere else in the city, you're golden, basically.
Yeah. No, it's a great place. It really is.
It is. I'm looking forward to. When was it's been a while since you've been there recently.
I was there like in November or something like that.
Seeing Magda, breaking up with Magda for the 13th time.
Yeah.
She's still humouring your wares. It's like the world's greatest con. She's still humouring.
Well, I've got some breaking news. Is we're going to go and see Bad Bunny together in July.
Okay. In Warsaw.
Yeah.
Did she invite you, or did you invite her? How did that come to pass?
No, I invited her. She kind of wanted to go, and I thought it might be quite cool. So I got a
good way to re-access access to the Magda.
Well, I just thought, because I'd seen the Super Bowl thing, and I thought it'd be quite cool, and she was up for it. And I saw he was playing Warsaw, and I was like, got a couple of tickets on StubHub or whatever, because and it's a bit cheaper over there. He's playing London as well, but it's a bit less expensive. You get a really good position for a lot cheaper than you would in London. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
Interesting stuff. Point number 2. Men who don't learn game massively limit their options. If you can't approach women or create attraction, your options will become tiny. This is so true, isn't it? You're left with whoever happens to like you, whoever appears in your social circle, whoever you meet online, or even worse, whoever kind of appears in your office. Instead of choosing the woman you actually want, you take what shows up. It's true. And this was something that frustrated me when I first started becoming game aware. I just hated being, in hindsight, I didn't know any better, but it was me being chosen. I would be chosen because I didn't know how to approach, and I was shit scared of it. Never did it. No sovereignty, no agency. Reasonable looking guy still. I would get women approaching me sometimes, or at least kind of dancing into me, whatever. This is the uni days, but they were never that attractive. I might luck out with the odd decent one, but it was completely out of control. And you feel like that proverbial scene from American Beauty, right? That paper bag, that very picturesque scene, very emotional. The plastic bag getting blown around the streets. That's kind of how I felt, because you've got no control on it, and at least you are going to face girls saying no to you in this game, of course. But if you're able to actually in this game, but if you actually take the action, it doesn't really matter, because that's within your control. And we've always said this: rejection better than regret. If you approach 5 smoke shows, you know are your type, and it doesn't go anywhere. You don't give a shit, because you're a sovereign individual. You claimed control. You acted like the main character. But if you just sit around waiting for women to show up, I mean, it's a very, very scarce process, isn't it? Because the feminine is not designed to take action. It's not action taking. It's not penetrative energy.
Yeah, no, the problem is that the fundamental dating strategy of most men now, nearly all men now, is very passive. Because even if you're using the apps, that's also passive. Because basically,
it's so passive, isn't it? Let me not speak to people in real life and click a few buttons and hope for the best. Especially Bumble, where the woman's got to sign you in. Like, it's just like, fuck me.
Now you can work on your profile. You can get great profile pics and stuff. But even that, in the end, all you're doing, you're uploading 6 or 7 photos onto an app and sitting back and swiping a bit and then kind of crossing your fingers. That's all you're doing. And then anything, and that's probably the most active. Then beyond that, it's completely unproactive. It's like, I'm going to concentrate on social circle. So you have this social circle, you sit around and hope that Jane, who's Steve's sister, likes you, and then 5 years later, you're still hoping, maybe she'll notice me one day. She's been with Chad and Tyrone. Maybe next time, maybe my time will come soon.
Or even worse. I mean, a client was telling me a story about how he was saying, right, I'm approaching now, it's great. But his only way of meeting people was occasionally getting set up with people at random weddings he was invited to. Yeah. They'd be like, you're single. Let me sit you on a table with, and there'd be some one-tooth wonder, sat there. And it's just like, oh, Jesus, that's your system for getting laid, right? You have to take, why guys so scared of taking control?
Terrible. Actually, a friend of mine told me that happened to him actually a while back, because he's really good mates with this other couple that I kind of know, and then they hang out and stuff, and then they went for a lunch or something, and I think there was another guy there as well, and they brought along, unbeknownst to my friend, they brought along this other woman, and it was like, he's single, you're single, ooh, and my mate was just like, just not feeling it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just. They're never going to pick an absolute smoke show, are they? They're never going to set you up with, I don't know, Olivia Rodrigo or something. It's always going to be some, leftover boiler, isn't it? And you're just sort of like, it's.
I was put next to one girl because I had a girlfriend at the time, but one of my cousins thought I was single. Stuck me next to one girl who was actually quite attractive, and we did hook up.
Right.
But as a system to rely on forevermore as the only way to meet women, it's just terribly unempowering and also ineffective.
No, it's a terrible strategy, because if you're having that as your strategy, then you're just reliant on fate, and that maybe one day somebody might set you up with somebody that you like, but how likely is that really in the big scheme of things?
I think
we want to take control. We want to take some control in this thing. We want some agency in this area of our lives.
Yes, and the guys, I think, underestimate how empowering it feels, how good it feels when you decide, right, fuck this, I'm going to actually relentlessly approach women until I get good or until I get something. It does feel fucking good. And okay, it's a little bit annoying if you approach a hot girl and she's got no interest, but I think guys who haven't approached consistently underestimate how good it feels to see the girl and be like, I'm just going to fucking go for it and train that skill. Because it does feel fucking good. You do feel like a fucking man because you're taking control. You're playing the main character in your own life, aren't you?
Yeah. Because even if say you're one of those guys and you're on the apps and you actually are doing quite well on the apps, apps, because believe it or not, they do exist. There are guys out there who do.
I don't know. Well, I'm still yet to meet any, if I'm being brutally honest. We hear all these kind of like war stories, a bit like when you supposedly put down the right lottery numbers. It's like my uncle's second cousin's brother. He does well on the apps. It's like, well, does he? We're still yet to see anyone who does well on the apps.
Yet to see any evidence of it. You had to see any evidence of it. There are guys who claim to do quite well, but even then, even just assume you were, even then, you know, you go to Starbucks and there's an absolutely stunning woman who's exactly your type standing ahead of you in the queue. Wouldn't it be nice just to be able in those situations to go and approach her and go and talk to her and have a conversation?
Say anything, right? Yeah.
I think any guy would want to have that skill, because we all know what it's like. We've all been there. There's an absolute smoke show, and we didn't know what to say. We worried about other people looking. We worry about, oh, maybe she's got a boyfriend. So we don't do anything. We go away, and then we remember it for months. We remember it for years. Like, oh, I should have just said something to her, really. Ugh. You know, it just gnaws at our soul, doesn't it?
It's the pain of not taking action, which, you know, guys often will finally get in touch, not from pleasure, it's from pain, because pain is a way more effective driver. You could argue maybe 3 times more effective. So for me, one of the pain points I see a lot, well, for me personally, but also one of the pain points I see a lot for clients is, I keep seeing these hot women out where I work or where I live, and I just don't know. I can't say hello. I don't know what to do. I can't say hello. And then after that, I don't know what to say. Right. And these are both skill sets you learn: social freedom, the ability to talk to any human being, and the ability to flirt and be charming, right, with women, be playful, be teasy, spark something there. Those are 2 learnable skill sets. They're both within your control to learn, and you have to learn it. And if you do, you're not going to get every girl, but fuck me, you feel like a man. Like in my book, honestly, it's going to sound slightly controversial, but how can you really feel like an alpha, self-respecting guy if you can't go and speak to that cute girl consistently? Like, be honest with yourself, right? How can you look in the mirror and go, yeah, I've got it made? It's like you can't speak to another human being that wants to be spoken to because you're too scared of rejection, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So we want to get away from these passive strategies and move into. Because look, even if you're going out and 9 times out of 10 you're getting blown out like a paper bag, at least you're doing something, right? And on the few occasions when it does work, because it will for anybody, in the end you're going to meet somebody who does like you. What an amazing achievement, right? You've gone out, you've seen somebody you've initiated the whole thing, you've made it happen. That's so much more satisfying than, oh well, you know, she was out of Leeds for Friday night, so in the end she deigned to have a drink with me and then ghosted me. You know, it's just not a satisfactory way of operating, is it?
100% agree. So take control, lads. Number 3, men, the brutal truth about men who never learn game. They rely on dating apps that work poorly for most men. Many men try to outsource dating to apps like Tinder or Minge. But the reality is competition is extremely high. Matches often go nowhere. Conversations die quickly. If the app's your only strategy, you're playing the game on hard mode. I agree. It's a terrible thing to do, to outsource your sovereignty to a random algorithm and hope for the best. And I know, again, it's all hearsay. I don't know anyone who slays off these apps. I mean, people claim to, but we're yet to see evidence of it, you know. And now, especially more than ever, because masculinity is soft in the Anglosphere, every man and their dog just uses apps.
Well, there's also the other question, of course, we have to ask ourselves is, if a guy claims that he's getting a decent number of dates from the apps and he's doing okay, fine. But the other thing is, what is the quality of those women that he's meeting? And that's the big unknown, isn't it? Unless you see direct evidence of, oh, right, he's on the apps and he's meeting super top tier girls. Okay, fair enough. But I've never seen that evidence.
Show us your receipts is what we'd never say. But Tomasi used to say that. It was an American thing. We've seen their receipts. We've seen their receipts.
Well, people always used to ask me for receipts until I just muted the word receipts on my channel because I just couldn't be bothered with it anymore. It's like, all right, yeah, you want me to just like betray the confidence of these people, just like put these like regular people who don't want anything to do with the nonsense I do online just out in the open for a load of trolls to harass. You know, I mean, it's
absolutely farcical, isn't it? Yeah. Number 4, they miss opportunities constantly. Every day, men see attractive women in cafes, on the street, at the gym, in shops. Most men never act. Years later, they realize how many chances they let pass. It's so true. Now, if you don't see constant opportunities wherever you live, you need to probably move somewhere where there are. And if you do live where there are constant opportunities and you don't take the action, you need to start developing your social freedom muscle and being able to speak to these women. Because ultimately, until you start doing that, there is no chance you're betting them. And yes, the other strategy is, right, build a nice Instagram profile, cold DM women on there. If you do it enough, you may get some women out, but you're still fucked in person because you don't know how to interact with women. So you're still going to be the awkward dude, right? Not fucking them. And it's going to be very frustrating. You have to learn the process of going out, flirting with the world, speaking to human beings, being a vibe lifter, learning to flirt, learning subtext, learning how to insinuate. These are all learned skills that you have to master if you want a rich and successful dating life, which ultimately every man does. And if you're pretending you don't, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Does any client actually said that in the history of time?
Well, people in the chat have.
I would pay the money, but the juice ain't worth the squeeze, Governor.
Yeah. I gave up the game. Yeah.
Now I sit in a spoon.
You can't talk to women in the West. You can't talk to any woman in the whole of Europe. I gave it up, mate. Far better for it.
Yeah, and they're sitting there drinking their whatever they drink. Guinness Zero now because they're somewhat healthy. Number 5, they stay stuck in their comfort zone. Approaching women is uncomfortable. Correct. This is true. So again, getting comfortable with things that are uncomfortable in life. We have to do it. Everything that you want is outside of your comfort zone currently, right? And therefore you have to go through some discomfort to get good at it and to get the thing, right?
Yeah.
And this, I mean, it's not rocket science, is it?
No,
yes,
I mean, why do people have such an issue with that in this specific area? Because everybody knows if you wanted to become the next Usain Bolt, right, you'd have to run a lot, right? And you'd have to probably get up at 5 a.m. and go for a run. And it'd be pissing down with rain, and you wouldn't feel like it. Blah blah blah. Like everyone kind of knows that, don't they? And the people that do want to do sporting things like that, they do go through all of that. But with this, it's just like, oh no, but she might reject me, and I'll feel bad. Oh no, I can't possibly do that. It's that why would you treat this any differently to any other aspects of your life? People know as well, like with building a business, right? People know, okay, yeah, I had to really grind at first. I had to work, 16-hour days and all this kind of stuff. I pulled all-nighters, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's all perfectly accepted, and guys will be prepared to do that, but they're not prepared to put themselves out on a limb at all for what is arguably the most important area of their life.
Yeah, I mean, when I got into this, I just accepted it was going to be a bit hard and grueling. Like, I just accepted it. I was like, fuck, I don't want to stay. The pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of trying to get better at this stuff. That was it for me. And I was fucking horny. I was like, okay, I'm going to get rejected a lot. I don't really care because I want to fuck hot women and I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to do that. It wasn't even a case of focusing on the negatives. It was just like relentless drive to get better. And that's actually where your focus goes. Is where your energy flows, right? Sounds cliche, but what you focus on is literally what your life becomes. So you might as well focus on the relentless good stuff about learning this stuff. You do become more confident as a guy because most guys' biggest fear is to approach hot women.
Although we have at least one client who they treat going to a Latin American country with the sun shining and people dancing or having a great time with it. Basically, it sounds like going to the front in a war, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're not really recommending that as well. Try and enjoy the process, of course. But ultimately, I don't really understand guys who I can't really see any way of getting good at this stuff if you don't have a relentless drive to get laid at some stage of this game. Because that's how you did it. That's how I did it. I was just fucking horny. I'd watch loads of porn. I'd never fucked hot women. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Why can't I be the guy who is sleeping with hot girls? And I had a massive chip on my shoulder and I went out relentlessly and I made it happen, as did you.
Yeah, I think at a certain point that you have to almost have an attitude of, I'm just refusing to accept the scraps. I'm refusing to accept what life doles out to me. Because what every other guy does, for the most part, is I don't mean this hugely disrespectfully, but they basically just sit there, wait for something to happen, and then they kind of accept the scraps, or at least
they're wallowing in mediocrity. And it happened with, if you look at my friendship, my friendship circle from my school with women, it's all the same thing. They hooked up with this average girl when they were drunk at a club, and that became their wife. And it's like, do you really want that? Like, we're going to die someday. you're going to look back and go, fuck, you know, and let's not pretend
Yeah.
these same guys are not sitting there watching fucking HD porn,
Yeah.
fantasizing about smoke shows. And it's like,
Well, a lot of
so
guys
why
just
can't you be the
marry.
guy?
A lot of guys just marry the girl from university, don't they? Basically, I mean, that's what tends to happen in the UK. People meet at uni. It's like, oh yeah, me and Jane, you know, we kind of met at uni, and then they just get married because that's
They're
just
doing
what
it from
they do.
scarcity, though, aren't they? That's in
Yeah.
their heart of hearts. If they had unlimited options with women, would they really be settling down with that girl at 30 as they're entering their prime? Fuck no. So
Well, that's another point, isn't it? Because they don't really understand. When they're 30, they think, oh, you know, time's. I've got to stop doing that northern accent. Like time's ticking, you know, need to put a ring on it, and they don't realise that actually they're coming into their prime at that point. You know, time might be ticking for her, it's not ticking for you.
So going back to your point about the accepting the mediocrity thing, like why do you think guys are not more driven just to be like, fuck, I want to actually fuck some hot women? Is it fear? Is it just lack of admitting?
I don't know really. I don't really know. I think they're not aware of what is possible. I think that's possibly the main thing, really. And also, if they were aware of it, but then they found out that actually you had to do quite a lot of work, or at least you had to really put yourself out there consistently, I think that would also put them off. Because I think a lot of us are just inherently quite lazy, you know? We just, I mean, all of us, we're kind of inherently lazy. We would rather take the easier route in a lot of things.
Sure.
And you have to make a conscious decision to step against that, don't you? But I think a lot of guys just aren't aware of what's possible. They're just not aware of what you could actually do if you put your mind to it.
Possibly true. Although there must be some disconnect because a lot of men watch fucking porn, right? So they're jerking off to HD smoke shows.
Yeah.
So there must be some, you know, understanding that okay.
I think it's outside. I think it's outside of people's reality though, because I think people think, yeah,
there's nowhere I'd be banging. Yeah, there's nowhere
that wouldn't happen in real life. You know, that's fantasy.
Yeah. But then again, what is real life? Because it's all perception anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But then
I think.
Yeah, Karen.
I was just going to say, like, you just want to think. My motto on life is I just want to experience a broad variety of things, good and bad. But, you know, a bit of an emotional purist, good and bad. I'm happy to wallow in the bad as well as the good. And most men, let's be honest, if you think about what would be on a bucket list, you'd have a subsection of probably a sexual bucket list, and there'd be some shit on there like I had a threesome, you know, I had some crazy orgy, I cheated on a girl, she cheated on me. Because maybe these are strange ones here, but I'm a big experience of just a big exponent of expose yourself to random experience and just see how it feels. Because ultimately, when you die, that's it, isn't it? So why not?
Yeah, I think there's value in experiencing all aspects of life, really, the highs and the lows. You know?
Exactly, because you can't have the highs without the lows, and vice versa. And actually, if you don't put a narrative on what needs to happen, it's not actually that bad. It's just feelings that pass through your body. It's the narrative we tie stuff that causes our psychological pain, of us needing reality to be different. But it's like, no. And let's be honest, most men want to experience sexual variety because that's programmed into you. The reason you pork around, the reason you get stimulated by watching lots of different visuals on porn is we're driven to spread our, you know, proverbial DNA around. Women are programmed to find the top dog and lock him down. We're not. We're programmed for variety. So if you're not exercising that in some capacity, I think you do feel unfulfilled. And look, it's all very well if you say, no, I found the right woman. But then why are you sitting there watching porn secretly? Or why are you messaging us, watching our content, going, fuck it, and deep down knowing that you wish you could go and you wish you could go and sleep with 4 or 5 girls in 1 week and not give a fuck and enjoy it. So I think brutal self-honesty with this is super important.
I think a lot of us, I'm sure in aspects I can include myself in this, but we're not always fully honest with ourselves. And I think we need to make the effort to at least try to be.
That's where Goggins' stuff is actually very good. His idea of this accountability mirror. At the end of each day, he would look at himself in the mirror and just talk at himself, going, did you really do everything you should? Where did you shirk? And the next day, just fucking in the morning with the accountability mirror, right, where are we going to pick up where we fucked up yesterday? And he said that was the thing that relentlessly built self-honesty with himself, which I think is a pillar. Because if we can't even be honest with ourselves about shit, how the fuck are you going to be honest with other people? Which is important if you actually want to build a tribe of people around you.
And it's this 2-track thing, isn't it? Because we always talk about, you know, going out with irrational self-confidence. So when you're out and about, you're in the club, you're in the bar, you're talking to, you know, you're in in the street, talking to girls, whatever it is, then you want to have this impenetrable wall of self-confidence around you. Like, no, I'm the boss. But then when you go home at the end of the day, just on your own, you want to just reflect and just have that full self-honesty and go, yeah, actually, I probably could be going to the gym more. Actually, I probably could be focusing on this aspect of my life a bit more.
Where did I at the end of each day, where did I betray myself today? Or where did I drop the ball a bit from the highest version of myself? Right.
Yeah.
And it's not doesn't need to be a Goggins style bashing, just like, okay, curiosity. Okay. Yeah. I kind of let the ball drop there. I talk a lot about healthy eating. I ate that fucking cream bun for no reason. Could have a little bit of impulse control, not done that. Because ultimately, if you can just improve like Kaizen 1 or 2% every day across the board, suddenly you do become this force, this compound effect after about 3-4 months of fuck this, it happens with anything. It happens with everything. So it's not dramatic. It's just a little bit of more self accountability and honesty at the end of each day. Log it and actually apply it. And suddenly your actions are lining up with who you want to be. And you're actually getting those results in real life.
Yeah. And I guess the step before that, which we do teach guys, actually, we work with guys on this, is figuring out, firstly, who do you want to be? What are the attributes that you want to have? And for a lot of us, they're probably going to be similar for a lot of us, because we want to be effective men who walk through the world and create our own reality and stuff. So they're going to be kind of similar, but everyone's going to have their own individual quirks. So figure that out and then make sure that your actions are aligning with that.
If you were objectively designing character, though, most men, they would probably say, the ideal man, he's able to go and be comfortable around women and make women laugh and be able to hold court and flirt with a girl, right? If you're just taking yourself out yourself and objectively creating a character. So if you agree with that, then what do you have to do? You have to go and put steps in place to make that happen.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's why I said I think for a lot of us it would be similar, because I don't think anybody watching this really would disagree that that's an aspirational thing to do, right? To be able
and discipline and self-love, right? Again, take ourselves for a minute egoically out of the ego we're always trapped in. Forget who we think we are as people. If you were designing an objective character, would the character respect himself? Yeah. Would he have his own gag? Yeah. Would he not bullshit himself? Yeah. These are objective things that we struggle when we're sitting in ourselves in that first person point of view with the whole time, because we're like, oh, it's just not me. But I love this idea of externalizing and just thinking, right, the ideal archetype version of myself, what would that encompass, and start acting as if, right? But that requires a bit of self-awareness.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about working with clients, actually, I'm starting to see, is that you can see their self-delusion, and probably you can see their self-delusion a lot more clearly than you can your own. And I'm not letting myself off the hook here, because I've definitely, there's definitely things where I've been in self-delusion for sure. But when we work with a client, we can very easily see it, because they've got, on the one hand, they've got their stated goals, and we obviously spend a lot of time with them. Right, this is where you want to get to. And then we've got what they actually do, and the reasons that they give for not actually doing it. And you can see that a lot of people, again, including ourselves probably in different areas, but a lot of people are kind of living in delusion, aren't they? They're kind of living in a narrative that they've created, which is not getting them where they want to be.
Yeah, reality doesn't care about your thoughts and emotions. It cares about actual real world action. And there's a great quote from a guy called Richard Feynman, who people heard about, but this is exactly the point. His quote is, the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. So self-delusion, that's why this Goggins accountability mirror is so important, because deep down we know if we're doing what we say we're supposed to be doing. And talking to yourself in the mirror, it's very uncomfortable. I've done it. I did it for about a month. Had a break now. I'm going to go back to it. But the first couple of weeks, I was just like, fuck, I'm lying to myself the entire time. And it's quite an uncomfortable place to be. But you know what?
I like to do it naked. So you're really like,
Or the Gwyneth Paltrow, which is her, in order to not be fat, she used to sit in the mirror, full length mirror, naked, eating her food, like watching herself eat. So it would limit her portions. Can you believe that? I do it wanking, with a plate of spaghetti in the other hand as well. Not onto the spaghetti, not cream of some young sauce. But anyway, we digress. Point number 5 of 10. We're halfway there, lads, if you're still hanging on. Men stay stuck in their comfort zones. So this is the brutal truth about men who never learn game. They stay stuck in their comfort zone, approaching women as uncomfortable. So guys rationalize avoiding it by saying, I'll meet someone eventually. It's not worth the risk. I'm busy. Comfort zones feel safe but they often create long-term regret. It's true. The comfort zone is incredibly often an incredibly uncomfortable place to be. let's be honest, most men are not happy in their comfort zone. The masculine, the energy you encompass, is designed to push the boundaries. It's designed to take action. It's designed to risk. That's the masculine energy, the life force within you. So if you just sit there, kind of sitting on the couch, eating the proverbial Cheetos, jerking off to porn, scrolling on Tinder, there's a reason you feel fucking anxious and depressed, right? You need to be getting out there. Curiosity and pushing your own limits. That's will to power in action.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there absolutely is. But like we've said many times before, guys will do absolutely anything to not approach a woman, right? And what's crazy is it's not even just guys in the general population. It's guys who've actually self-selected to get help with this specific issue. You know, they'll come to us and they'll pay us lots of money. And the hardest thing that we have to do with any client is to get them to approach a couple of women a day consistently. I mean, you know, and no disrespect to them, because yes, it is difficult and there's individual circumstances and things. We get it. But at the end of the day, if you're a self-selecting person who comes forward and says, right, I want to get really good at this, and then there's always a reason why you can't do the one thing that's potentially going to turn the dial, well, it's absolutely going to turn the dial, then there's a disconnect, isn't there, between where you want to be and what the actions that you're actually embodying.
Yes. Again, it's the accountability side, isn't it? The honesty side, the self-honesty piece.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, guys would rather go up into the Tibet mountains and learn to be a samurai warrior or something, rather than, you know, I'm going to do that because that'll impress girls. They'd rather do anything than just go to the coffee shop and talk to a couple of girls and maybe get rejected. It's like, no, I'm going to spend 7 years in Tibet on the mountaintop. You know, it's like, come on, man, just go and talk to a girl and get blown out. I mean, it's
whilst they're also continually still watching porn a lot and jerking off. It's like, bro, just fucking face the fire. There's a great, here we go. I've turned into a quote machine. Great quote from our favorite alcoholic Polish writer, Charles Bukowski, which is
Bukowski.
Let's have a look. Let's bring up the quote. But it's about what does that mean?
I don't know. It's a bit of a meme on online. It's a word that Polish use for, apparently it's got about 50 different meanings.
To awaken in a cheap room in a strange city and pull up the shade. This was the craziest kind of contentment. And to walk across the floor to an old dresser with a cracked mirror, see myself ugly grinning at it all. What matters most is how well you walk through the fire. So the only bit you need to remember is what matters most is how well you walk through the fire. How do you face fucking hardship? Do you run there? Do you bury your head in the fucking sand like an ostrich, secretly jerking off to porn, but fantasizing about the fact you could go and actually approach women in real life and seduce them? Or do you say, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to take a stand, write us an email, go, you know what, I am flying to a random country, I'm going to meet these guys. We had it the other day, Australian guy got in touch, Mr. M, we'll call him, another Mr. M. But he was like, look, I've watched your streams for a while. I'll be honest, I'm not really dating. I haven't really done much in Sydney, but you know what? Fuck it. You lit a fire under me, and I'm like, I'm going to fly out. I'm going to fucking face the fire, do what I need to do because I'm 48 and I don't have forever. And we were just like, there's a certain respect we have for guys that are just willing to be honest with themselves and their situation because it's so rare. But you have to be honest with where you're at with this stuff. No one's coming to save you. We can help you. We can open the door or we can bring a horse to water, but you've got to take that drink. Right? You've got to step through it.
Most men are living in a dream world and they're not being honest with themselves. They're not being honest with themselves about what they want, and they're not being honest with themselves about the shortage of time they've got to get it.
So and limited, right?
It's a sad fact because this is only going to get harder. We keep talking about how it's 2026 is so difficult, blah, blah, blah. But it's also the easiest it's ever going to be again, because it's only going to get more difficult as time goes on. The competition's only going to get more intense. So you need to handle this stuff now. You know, you really need to handle this stuff now.
Couldn't agree more. Number 6, they overvalue looks and undervalue skill. This is going to piss off the black pillars, isn't it? Many men believe dating success is mainly about height, looks, and money. These things help, but social skills matter enormously. Men who develop charisma, confidence, and conversation ability often outperform men who rely on looks alone. I can attest this because I was the good-looking guy with no riz, with no understanding how this works, like the wolf owl in the corner, just, oh, let me have my beer. And guess what? I wasn't pulling a muscle. And I'd occasionally pull, you know, a buffalo because they would throw themselves onto me. But it was hardly like, you know, the cream of the litter, the cream of the crop. So we've also taught very good-looking clients, haven't we, where They're just not. They don't do very well because they don't understand these. They don't understand. They need to generate this kind of this X factor, this confidence, this charisma, this ability to hold court and influence and persuade with the verbals.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I've told this story before many times, but I taught a very good-looking client in Kyiv, actually, in Ukraine. And people would say, well, was he doing really well? Was he, smashing it out of the park? And the answer was no, not really. I mean, he did okay, but there was another guy on the same boot camp, not as good-looking, okay-looking guy, not as overtly good-looking, who did it significantly better.
Right.
Because he had just more charm, he had more banter about him. He was able to make her feel something in the approach, right? So yeah, the looks thing is hugely overrated by a lot of these guys, and obviously it's exploding at the moment with Clavicular. But yeah, take it with a pinch of salt.
Why is it so persistent that men seem to misunderstand this and think because men are very visual, because it is about visual cues to do with fertility in the woman. So her hip size, her breast size, symmetry, youth, fertility, all these cues. Why do men not understand? It's not the same the other way around. Is it just lack of understanding evolutionary psychology?
I think it's that we project. So I think we project what we want onto women. So we're like, okay, well, I like her because she's pretty, and so therefore it's going to be exactly the same coming back. And of course it isn't, because women are judging it on a wider spectrum of metrics. But equally, to be fair to those guys, you could also argue that men's looks, men's aesthetics have become more important in the last 10, 15 years. There is probably more pressure on men to look good. Because
there is, but it still doesn't change the hierarchy of where that rates on the what actually is attractive to women. And the problem now with someone like Clavicular, who champions the looks narrative, is he's going to be getting a lot of action based on the fact he's famous and he's got status, but he's going to be attributing it in his own mind to the fact he's looks maxing, and it's not. It's fucking ironically not, right? It comes down the list. I'm reading a book called Mate, which I really recommend to guys, which is Tucker Max, that former party boy, teaming up with an evolutionary psychologist called Jeffrey Miller, and they talk exactly about this. They go, looks is like 5th or 6th on the hierarchy list, right? And you've got all these other things: social skills, status, influence, even money. They rank above looks,
right? I think that's probably true. And I mean, Clavicular now has all three of those, because he's got status as far as that, in the streamer world. He's got influence and he's got money, because I saw another clip. I was doom scrolling a load of nonsense earlier, where he's saying he's making 200 to 300k a month, right? He was telling this one girl, she's like, how much do you make? He said, I don't know, about 200k a month. And her eyes start to pop, So yeah, I mean, he's got all of these other things before looks even comes into the into the arena. And to be honest, if he hadn't done any looks maxing, but he still had those other things, he'd probably still be doing really well.
Yes, I think the looks is overrated. We're not saying don't optimize it. Guys will be going like, yeah, but you talk about getting Botox and your facial hair looks like it's got symmetry and you both have haircuts. It's like, yeah, don't look like a fucking troglodyte. Have some self-respect. But don't overvalue the weight of that when it comes to dating. It's about doing it because you feel more confident if you look good, and that's going to come across in your vibe rather than if you look trash. There's a reason a lot of guys will say to us, I can't approach my gym kit, because it's how you feel internally often dictates the results you get with women externally, right? Your self-perception. We know when we're dressed in suits, we feel fucking confident, and we typically then generate the best receptiveness from women. But if I felt most confident wearing gym kit the entire time, I probably would wear the gym kit the whole time, right? So it's the feelings you bring to the party, your state, your self-perception. It's so elemental when it comes to attracting women.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you need to, when you're getting ready in the morning or to go out, you need to do the best job you can, make sure you're well groomed, wearing a cool outfit, etc., etc. But then as soon as you're done, forget about it. Just go out and then just start to act from a place of supreme confidence, unshakable frame, and just forget about, does my hair look good, blah blah blah. Just forget about it. Don't even look in the mirror once you're out. It doesn't matter.
Forget about it. So fugazi. Number 8, they feel like something is missing. Many successful men have careers, fitness, social circles, but their dating life feels empty. That gap creates a persistent sense of unfinished potential. The greatest, according to Jung, the greatest tragedy in a man's life is unfulfilled potential. And if we extrapolate that out to different areas, it's not one size fits all. It's across the board, right? let's be honest, one of the most important of those is, at the end of the day, did you fuck a load of hot women? Now, you can pretend, guys can sit there and pretend, no, it doesn't matter. It does fucking matter. It does, because even guys that are with their supposed dream partner we've worked with end up acting out with escorts and cheating on her later because they have all these years of unfulfilled. They never really pushed the envelope with this stuff and didn't get laid much. And they feel dreadfully unfulfilled. So it does matter. You do have to have fucked a number of hot women to feel satisfied as a guy. And I'd argue, actually, that's a way healthier place to then enter a long-term relationship from, because you don't have all these unfulfilled desires. So, you know, again, guys won't like to hear this, but it's the reality. It's the reality.
Yeah. I think we've talked about what the specific number is, but I think when you're younger, particularly, you want to have a number of experiences under your belt before you think
across the board as well. Weird sexual experiences, threesomes, foursomes, maybe weird group of stuff like you did, going to sex clubs, killing kittens. You know, the Berlin stuff.
That was the name of a party. I wasn't actually, just to be clear, I wasn't actually massacring youthful cats. Well,
what was the whole tag phrase? That was the one in London for a while, wasn't it? And it was like every time. What was the thing? Every time a woman orgasms, a kitten dies. That was
that's right. That's right. Or every time a woman masturbates,
a kitten dies. Where did they even get that analogy? It's a great brand though, killing kittens.
Yeah, it's probably still going. I mean, I haven't been for years, but I did used to go a bit because they did some singles parties. Like a lot of it, you had to take a girl, and I did that a couple of times. But then also they did a few singles parties where they were quite strict on the men because obviously they didn't want the numbers to get out of whack. But it was some good times. It was,
but as you said, interestingly as well, because the sexual market's always in operation.
Yeah,
guys would maybe weren't getting laid there, and they'd turn up at these things hoping for the best, wouldn't they? And it's even more ruthless. They'd still be standing in the porno. The chads would still be banging the hot ones.
No, absolutely. It was pretty brutal actually, and even Torture Garden was like that as well. Because I think a lot of guys would go to these things because they would think, oh well, it's this sex party, so it's just going to be free for all, and it really isn't. You know.
We had a client who we were working with for a while who was going to all these sex parties and not pulling a muscle, and it's just like, well, be more attractive, become more attractive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't actually disagree with this. I would say that he's got this almost American Psycho air to him, doesn't he? Clavicular. Yeah,
I think no. Lame Duck actually making a helpful comment to the debate for once. So thanks, Mr. Duck.
I would agree. He's got this kind of arrogance to. He's kind of like. I think actually he's a bit of a sociopath and a bit like Christian Bale's character. He just doesn't. He's not. He's actually a bit disconnected. But for women, that's when he's got a bit of value and status, that's going to come across as this kind of confident vibe.
Yeah, I think there's a number of different factors that are feeding into his like quote unquote success with women, because on camera he does get women who are sort of basically throwing themselves at him, but also he does also get some rejections as well, which he posts or it's live, to be fair to him. But guys will look at that, and the guys who are bought into the problem is he's a victim of his own success in a way, because he's probably going out and doing these live streams to demonstrate that, oh, this is the difference that looks makes. This is the difference that looks maxing makes. But now that he's famous and he's got all of this notoriety, you can't separate that from the looks. So he's getting reactions partly because of who he is. And you can't say he's getting these, like we've said already, you can't say he's getting these reactions because of how he looks. No, a lot of it is because he's clavicular and he's really famous.
The irony is he's going to hammer this drum for the looks thing for the next 20 years without really realizing it's nothing to do. It's not the looks, it's the status and the fame.
Yeah,
that's actually getting him the results.
I mean, he's got famous because he said some wacky things about looks maxing online. But actually, the reason that he's getting all this attention now is because of the fame and the influence and maybe the money to some extent. I mean, he's also probably got a really cool lifestyle in Miami, good pad and partying the whole time and whatever. So there's a lot of different.
You've watched his content a lot more than me, but I wouldn't say that last comment on Dark Triad, I wouldn't say it was actually particularly Dark Triad even. I think he's just a bit of a sociopath and he's quite disconnected.
But that's part of the dark. I mean, the sociopathy is part of the Dark Triad, isn't it? I think he probably no. I mean, if you think about it, narcissistic, we could say, I guess, yeah, because of somebody who does all that looks maxing, you could say is probably narcissistic.
Psychopathic's lacking empathy, isn't it? But I'd say it was more he's almost slightly on the spectrum, and he just doesn't have that much empathy, rather than he's actually like this kind of evil, cackling, calculating, charming fucker, you know?
Yeah. Now, whether he's Machiavellian, that's another thing. It's hard to say.
I don't get that vibe. I don't get the kind of Wall Street banker, the Jordan Belfort archetype with him. I get more just slightly disconnected, doesn't really give a shit what people think, but because he's on the spectrum, it sounds insulting to say he's on the spectrum, but there's a disconnection there, an uncalibration.
He sort of talks about being a bit neurodiverse, right? He actually talks about.
So there we go. You know, I'm actually just, that's why it's working, because when you add status into that, women see that as this aloof arrogance, whereas actually he just doesn't care. And he's a bit switched off in some ways.
Oh. And here's another problem with him using him as a template for your game, though, because if a regular guy acted like that, he's not going to get the same results, really. Clavicula can pull it off because he is decent looking, and also he's famous, and he's a streamer, and he's got notoriety, so he can pull it off. Basically, not saying very much and being a bit dismissive. And she says something, and he starts talking to his mate over here. He can get away with it, but most guys can't.
You've got to be more charming. That's the thing we'd probably lean into, isn't it? If guys are saying, well, what should I do different? It's be more charming. Actually give a fuck about influencing emotion in a positive way, teasing, engaging the girl. You've got to be a bit more charming than he comes across. He comes across as aloof, arrogant, and quite cold. And because of the status play and the cameras, it works. But it's not actually textbook what we'd recommend for the average guy, is it?
No, because the average guy trying to do that in a Teatron in Bogota or something is it's not going to fly, is it?
Yeah, the other point is it's Anglosphere. He's doing this in the US, and the US is a particularly interesting kind of market to operate in. But if you're coming to a place like where I am, Brazil, or where we're going, Colombia, where people are very warm and engaging and focused in the body, if you're acting like that, they'd just be like, no, this guy's a bit odd. They wouldn't, again, forget the cameras. If you were just there in a club, it's not going to fly. It's absolutely not going to fly. Yeah. So, yeah, you've got to be smart with this stuff. Point number 9, the regret compounds with age. In your 20s, it's easy to think, I'll sort this out later, but time moves fast. Men who never address this skill set often reach their 30s and 40s thinking, why did I never learn this? And then, look, it's never too late. We work with guys who are late 50s, early 60s, even late 60s. And yeah, okay, we'd preferably like to grab you by the scruff of the neck way before then and put you through your paces, but it's never too late. Because as men, we're very lucky as men. We've got a long runway, right? So women, they have that 18 to 30 window. Do you reckon that's why they made Club Ibiza 18 to 30? Because they're replicating a woman's party years. Who knows? But men, it's really, the game only really starts at 35, in my opinion. And you can stay sexually relevant for decades after that and continue to build your value because it's a different set of things women are looking for. So we're very lucky.
Yes, that was something. Yeah, you're absolutely, and I can absolutely co-sign that. But that was something that I think even I had to learn. We have probably had to learn this. It wasn't like it's not intuitive to you, particularly when you're brought up.
No, it was the rational male that, and actually getting to that age and realizing. You always talk about your most prolific year being my age. I am now 39, and it's crazy because if someone told me that when I didn't understand this stuff, I'd be like, mate, I just wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, I hope so, but I can't see it. But then when you actually get there, you're like, fuck, it's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, you don't realize until you're there, and then you start to realize, oh wow, okay. Actually,
every woman's looking at me. I can bang younger women. Yeah.
Actually, everything I was told was a lie. I was in the Matrix.
Basically, to do with dating.
Like you know my recent situation. I mean, even now, at the ripe old age of 51 or whatever, you know, I actually did get, well, not exactly approached, but you know, I've certainly got somebody who's a lot younger than me who's very forcibly expressing their interest in me, right? And it's like, well, how does that happen? Like, how does now? Okay, maybe the circumstances of that are quite specific, but nevertheless, you know, in the Anglosphere, so somebody who's significantly younger, who's putting it on to me, basically. And it's like, you know, I would never have thought that could ever be possible when I was 18 or 19. So it's pretty crazy how these things work.
Indeed. Couldn't agree more. So, Yeah, the regret compounds with age. It's never too late to learn this stuff. Get in touch. We've had guys recently signing up to come and join us in various Latin American countries who are early 40s. A lot of guys will ask, is that too late? No, it's not. Even late 40s, even mid 50s, even late 50s, even early 60s, it's not too late, because you can work on these elements that women find attractive. Grounded charisma, charm, right? Flirting, teasing. These are skill sets you learn, and they will compound, they will transfer to women, and you will realize, actually getting out the Anglosphere especially, that it's totally normal for a late 40s man to be dating a mid 20s woman. In fact, if you're not, and you're well put together as a guy, people are kind of wondering, why is he not, right? Because it's just, there's no feminism. The gender roles are accepted. You build status, you build charisma, you build a vibe as a man, and you get young, hot women. That's just how the world works in anywhere that isn't the UK, Australia, or the US.
Indeed.
Point number 10. The truth. Social skills are learnable. Headline. If you just listen to nothing else, you're busy there, just kind of bleary eye going through your cornflakes. You're like, oh, what's this, Joss? And it's still just us murmuring on the background. Doesn't matter. Forget all of that bollocks. Just this point is the key thing you need to remember. Point number 10, the truth. Social skills are learnable. The final point shouldn't be hopeless. The reality is, confidence can be trained. Social freedom can be learned. Approaching women is a skill. Flirting is a skill set. Most men who invest time in learning it often see huge changes in their dating life. We've seen it for ourselves on a personal level, and we've seen it for hundreds, if not thousands, of clients we worked with over the last 20, 25 years, haven't we, combined?
Yeah.
It's a learnable skill set. All of this stuff is learnable. You're on the hero's journey. And if you just keep going and don't drop out of the game, eventually you get there. Now, obviously, you can accelerate that with coaching, no end. So that would be the recommendation. Get some hands-on coaching from us. But it's all a learnable skill. Most men don't fail with women because they're unattractive. They fail because they never learn the skills that create the opportunities. That's it. It's within your hands. So, any Paris notices?
All right, let's have a look through. Any questions? Are you doing any filming in Brazil? Well, I don't know if you are at the moment, but if I get over there, which I'm going to sort of have a look at today, then we likely will, won't we?
Yes, absolutely, we will, for sure.
Is the Bad Bunny Magda a high quality woman? Let's hear close to the mic, Troy. You seem to have dropped that from the repertoire lately. I would say she's relatively high quality, yeah. But then high quality woman. Well, I mean, a lot of Eastern European women are. I mean, it depends how you're defining it, but quite.
The problem is they're not setting that they're very stable and they're reliable customers, but they're not setting the Riz world alight, are they? That's the problem with them. They're actually quite.
That was my issue. If you remember, that was my issue with her, wasn't it?
They're actually in the cold light of sobriety. A lot of these women, yes, they're good for a bag, and they're not going to cheat on you. They kind of semi-worship you a bit, but they're fucking boring. That is the problem, and that's why I have a bit of an issue with this, because I spent half the year in Latin America where women tend to be very engaging emotionally and actually a lot of fun. Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, but Argentina, but they're not going to make good long-term partners. Whereas these European women.
But you remember that, because you actually reflected this back at me, because this specific Magda, I was saying to you before, when I was actually seeing her, I was saying to her before, oh, she's a bit boring though. And then, of course, when it all went awry for various reasons, then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I lost Magda. And so I think the reality is, yeah, she's a little bit, I wouldn't say dry, but not in the right areas, but she's a little bit sort of. There's not that Latino fire, is there? There's not a Latina kind of crazy fire going on there, I would say.
No, and vibe, like, is there really that? If you remove sex, I mean, how much vibe is there really there where you can just get in a flow state with them? That's the other thing we must bear in mind. And a lot of these East European women, they make very good long-term partners. They're ticking a lot of boxes, but they're not that engaging. That's the problem. You come to Brazil, they really are. They're intoxicating to be around. Colombia, Argentina, they're hot-blooded, they're fiery. Terrible for long-term partners, but very engaging emotionally. And so this is the great dilemma we have as men, isn't it? Yeah. Eastern European versus Latin America.
Well, which way, Western man?
Well, to Thailand with the crumple notes, of course, but let's not talk about that.
So Unique says, now that the sun is coming out here in London or places that has constant sunshine, women will not be active on the dating apps. They will be out of their houses. And then
fair point.
Yeah, okay.
They may, of course, be swiping outside of their houses on their phone, but
you can use phones outside. But yeah, I take your point. So Third says, is it all over for us now that the Louis Theroux documentary is coming? This is obviously a bit of a wind up. Women will now know exactly what we're doing. Steve Jabber said it's all over. Give up and take up a new hobby or religion. Thoughts? Well, as I said, I think it's been over for Steve Jabber for decades anyway. I don't think the Louis Theroux documentary is really going to have a lot of. But I don't know. I mean, like, I think this is a bit of a troll sort of wind-up comment. But I mean, I don't think the Louis Theroux, for a start, the Louis Theroux documentary, as far as I know, it's not really specifically about dating or meeting women, is it really? So that's one thing. Secondly, like all of these things, it will be gone and forgotten in a week or so anyway. And you know, when you say women know exactly what we're doing, I mean, again, that's feeding into the old game narrative of, oh, we're doing this secret thing that's different to the rest of the world and women are going to get onto it. Whereas the reality is, all we're doing is getting out there and being social. And
that's it. Be social with the world, flirt with the world.
You know, it's not like we're doing this weird secret thing and suddenly women are going to rumble us and then it's not going to be possible anymore.
In fact, the more you make it this weird secret thing, the harder it is to get good at this stuff, because it's a test of normality. It's a test of your social skills, right? And I think the problem with this kind of it does attract a lot of weirdos, this stuff, doesn't it? And what we're trying to make it is a bit more mainstream. Just thinking, right, be a really high value guy, max out every stat, including social skills, and you're going to get laid, right?
Yeah, exactly. SJ says, does the rise of clavicular depict what modern dating is like in 2026? Men trying to be pretty. Hard to argue with the results, but the premise is distasteful, as is modern dating. Well, I don't think it is really. I think clavicular is just a good entertainer who's found a niche and he's making some good money out of it. I don't think it's really... I don't think clavicular really means anything in the bigger scheme of things, does it? And
I definitely wouldn't follow his protocol, which is like, you know, take meth and hammer your jaw. It's not. He's focusing on the wrong shit, which is not. Yeah. It's not about looks, man.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, the one thing that he is doing, which is quite good, is he's going out. I mean, he's probably just doing it for the cameras, for the money, but he's going out and he's interacting with women. So that bit I would follow. The other bit, absolutely not. And when you say it's hard to argue with the results, well, like we've been saying through this stream, the problem with clavicular is you can't separate any success that he has with women. You can't separate now out from the fact that he's become a celebrity.
Yeah, because fame is the ultimate hack when it comes to women, right? So you've got to actually kind of disregard famous people giving dating advice, because it's unless their advice is get famous because you get laid like a rock star, their dating advice isn't relevant to the average person because they're not famous.
Yeah.
And fame is the ultimate hack. So, yeah.
I would argue that the majority just want a wife.
Well, maybe if you do want a wife, fine. But again, you're facing the problem here, which is, right, I'm just going to lock out with this hot girl, wife her up, and then I'm all good. I don't have to worry about this stuff. No, it doesn't work like that. The sexual market is always in play. The divorce rate is 60% in the UK for a reason. And it's no insulation from the sexual market, just getting married. The only real dating advice, as old Marky Manson said, is relentless self-development across the board, right? And abundance thinking. That's rude, Troy.
I don't know which bit was rude, but is it better in the UK?
God, this guy talks a lot. Who is he?
Is what better in the UK? How's it going in the French?
Forget this guy. He's speaking too much.
Yeah.
Get someone else on.
Okay. How old is Clav? He's about 20, I think. 20 or 21.
Yeah, so again, I wouldn't take this guy's worldview too seriously for guys being like, oh, this is the guy. It's like, he doesn't know shit. You don't know shit at 20. He's managed to crack the fame wagon, so now he's going to get laid a lot. But I would not listen to his rhetoric on life and dating too much, because at 20 you just don't know anything.
That's very true. I mean,
at 20, I can barely tie my own shoelaces now. At 39, at 20. I mean, Jesus Christ. He's actually, considering his early 20, to be fair to him, he's quite considered and seemingly quite articulate and intelligent. But he doesn't know much about life, because you just don't at 20. And definitely not about how women work.
Yeah, and to be fair to even Andrew Tate made exactly the same point. He said, look, he seems like a nice enough guy, but he's 20. And he said, I was basically retarded when I was 20. You know,
it's very easy, isn't it? Because we live in such a culture of worshipping online figures because we spend all day glued to our phones. So to look at someone like him and go, "Oh, he knows everything." It's like, bro, he doesn't, and you're seeing a filtered view of what's happening in his life. So I really wouldn't don't hold anyone's opinion too strongly, right? Take from different sources about what works.
Yeah, I guess this is a Tom Torero reference. Tom Torero, sexual market value ascribed like looks, age, IQ, and external money, status, and learned social intelligence, male polarity, charm, charisma.
Okay, so the external is the looks, age, and IQ. Ascribed. Oh, I don't know how he's marketed it. He's broken it up, but yeah, I mean, look, Torero had the bottom ones as learned skills, and he was very good at them, wasn't he? He was very charming. I'm not sure the polarity was that down, if I'm being honest. He didn't seem that polarizing. Social intelligence, yes. Charm and charisma, yeah. He was a great poster boy for really learned game because he wasn't unattractive, but he wasn't like winning any modeling pageants, was he?
No.
But he was very engaging. You could see women kind of fall in the spell when he was talking to them. He really understood how to actually come across.
But like I've always said, the thing about him was he also had a hate using the term. He had a killer instinct, right? There was a look in his eyes of real focus and right. Let's make something happen. Right?
So there was polarity then, actually. So
I think to be fair, I think there was, actually. But also he had a real drive to make things happen. I mean, I remember
sex drive and killer instinct. Good Looking Loser wrote about this as well. The definition of game is killer instinct. It's like if you're really a horny motherfucker, you will find a way to get laid, won't you? And if you're not,
I remember one of the first trips that I went on with him was to Amsterdam, funnily enough. And I remember, we met somewhere, and he was like, "Oh yeah, how's it going, Troy?" And then he had that look in his eyes, and he's scanning, and then he saw a girl. He's like, "Oh, hang on a minute," and he just ran over and started talking to a girl. Like that's real drive. It's like, yeah, I'm here to meet you. We're gonna hang out, but I also want to make things happen. And I'm just, and he was walking the walk as well as talking the talk, right? And this is what we don't see with a lot of clients. And they need a push, and they need to be pushed into it, start the ball rolling. But you've got to be looking at what's happening around you and going, right, how can I make this work? How can I make this happen? Okay, what about that girl over there? She looks quite nice. She might let me go and speak to her. Let me see if something can happen there. No, okay, fine. On to the next one, right? You've got to have that sort of can-do attitude, haven't you?
I think that's so key, man. I think the horniness factor is. I mean, look, honestly, it was really that for both of us was and same with Les, the reason we got laid a lot. We're just desperate to get laid, right? Yeah. And look, operating from desperation as a long-term strategy for your own mental health isn't a good place to be, because I think we both became totally reliant on needing to get laid to feel normal as well, or to feel like good about ourselves. And that's also terrible. That's a foundation built on time. But unless you're really fucking horny, I don't believe you're going to get any good at this for at least a period of time, being really fucking horny.
Because you've got to have, given that we all agree it can be difficult and it can be challenging at times.
It's going to be the most challenging thing you're ever going to do, but also this hero's journey, this stuff, but also the most rewarding.
So there's got to be quite a big motive for you to do all of that. Because
massive.
If the motive is like, yeah, maybe wouldn't mind a girlfriend sometime, if that's, you've got to have something big that's driving you. And if you haven't got, which I think is why we started to go down the route of asking guys to look at their bloods and talking about hormone optimization and stuff, because if your testosterone is low, there's not much drive there, then are you really going to put yourself through all the crap and the nonsense in order to get to the other side, right?
100% you won't. So it does need to be driven from horniness. There needs to be a desire to just fucking get laid like a rock star. Yes. And that can only be from horniness. So yeah, super important. Couldn't be more important.
Dan Tuber, if you advocate taking action, would you bypass loud bars and clubs over outdoors?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're big on the advocate. We're big, in case you haven't watched any of the stuff we've done for the last 20 years, we're big on the idea of cold approach and not in clubs and bars. We will go to clubs and bars, but any scenario you see the girl, you give it a fucking crack. Right? That's what we're really training social freedom here. And then after social freedom comes the ability to hold court, hold frame, charm, charisma. But first, it's got to be social freedom.
This is all about the art and craft of Durga.
Durga.
I can't stand Tusk. Okay.
And yeah, he's still commenting. Enough of that guy's nonsense. Carry on.
When learning cold approach, did you ever feel like a weirdo when approaching?
Yes, still do. You're going to have times where you feel fucking awkward. It's just part of the game. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
It can feel awkward, but I think the frame to have is, actually, no, this isn't weird. This is normal. I saw somebody I liked. I've gone up and had a conversation. Now, how she then receives that is obviously down to the individual woman, but it's actually not weird. It's actually extremely normal what you're doing.
It's also
it's just the West that's made it weird.
Whenever you speak to a random person for the first time, it's always going to be a bit like, okay, you're measuring each other out, which is why we're big on this idea of vibe. Do you vibe with them quite quickly? Because if you do, carry on. And if you don't, you're okay to leave. It's fine. You're not going to vibe with a lot of people. That's okay. You don't have to create a narrative about how you're a loser or how you're a victim. It's just move on, right? Most guys just don't play the numbers game effectively. So they try and kind of these lukewarm options where you don't really vibe with the girl. They're trying to push that through. And it's like, no, just keep going. You'll find girls to vibe with. I'd say if I had 10 conversations with women, one of those conversations, maybe two, I'll really vibe with the girl.
Yeah.
Because we line up looks wise, we're both each other's type, and we'll actually vibe on a personality level. But it's totally normal for 7 or 8 of those approaches. I may even get the number, right? But there's not a deeper vibe there. We just don't click as people. That's okay. That's normal. That's just how dating and mating works. You're not going to vibe with most of the women you speak to.
Absolutely. So I'm 27. This is gladiator fighting talk. And then he says, I'm 27. Any tips for dealing with nerves on my first approach? I'm worried my lip will start shaking. Okay.
Well, fair enough. I did my first cold approach officially at 27, right? Day game when I was really getting into it. You're not too late. You're a perfect age for this. Look, if you can't do it by yourself, which is understandable because I couldn't. The obvious thing you're going to be saying that again is get feedback from a coach because they can massively help you through the first stages because they literally hold your hand and just say, oh, it's okay. You do a couple of approaches, they adjust you. You get a bit of feedback and you go again and it becomes easier, right? If you think of any skill set to get good at, if you're going to learn French, what would you do? Would you wing it or would you get a French teacher? Probably get a French teacher. If you're going to learn boxing, would you just wing it? No, you go and get a boxing coach. So it's the same with this. Come to us, join us somewhere, and we'll put you through your paces to get this into you as quickly as possible.
But as to the other question, should he make his intentions clear? I suppose be direct or be more indirect.
Be direct because it's like jumping into the water. Don't just stick your little toe in. Go all in. Don't be half a gangster. Just get used to being direct with women. It's going to be fucking weird. I just had to, but you don't need anything from it. I saw you and I just thought, fuck, you look great. And then if it goes nowhere, just say, have a nice day. Give out some compliments for free. Get used to doing that. Then you can push the envelope. If she's engaged, carry on the conversation.
Yes. There's a 2 parts to this. What actually makes women throw themselves at Clad? Because I don't think he's actually that good looking. And then he goes on to say, what do you think it is that's making them act this way? He does seem confident and calm, but I'm pretty sure he has no spiritual growth, knowledge. So I don't think it's that. Is it all status and fame? Well, yeah. I mean, the main thing, like we've been saying, is status and fame. I mean, I think he's decent looking. I mean, he's a good looking guy. I don't really take
it's status. If I was going to analyze it straight up, it'd be status, fame. There's cameras there, so and they'll like, oh, and also he's got this aloof, arrogant attitude. But as we said, it's probably neurodivergency rather than because he's this dark triad like Alpha Lord. So those combinations, women don't bring your spiritual growth or your knowledge, so that's irrelevant. Those things you mentioned, it's his status and fame. Yeah.
What you guys have got to realise as well is that when there's a camera there, like actually you said this earlier, people do start to act a bit differently. So
women massively change. Yeah,
they do play up to it. So I'm not trying to say, oh, he's a fake, because some of those reactions are probably somewhat real. But also you got to remember these girls are also playing up to it a bit as well. But I think you've answered the question really. I think the status and the fame are the main thing. Should we hunt fasted or fed? What's your experience?
I would. Does he mean if you've masturbated or eaten?
I don't know. Or maybe he.
I mean, I typically I would recommend you've got to be on all the time. So you see the girl when you're not expecting it. It's always how the universe works. You've got to take the shot. Sometimes you're going to be fed or fasted. It doesn't matter, whatever. But typically for me, if I was planning an ideal day, I was going out with a client. I don't eat. I hit the gym in the morning. I feel revved up from that, and then I'll go and do, in a midday or something. That's when I'm most alive, and I probably won't have. I'd have hit the gym, and I won't have eaten, and I won't have masturbated, obviously. And then you're in this kind of more primal state.
What I do is I take me day game bum bag out, and I take two protein bars, and then at precisely 90 minutes into the day game session, I'll eat the first protein bar, and then 45 minutes later, I'll eat the second protein bar.
And you've got your bottle of water, remember, and your steak bake from Greggs, of course.
Day game bum bag, gentlemen. That's what you need.
And your Adidas tracksuit.
Did you go through stages of doing Durgam, walking around cities, mass approach, and getting rejected hard and struggling to do the first few, building that momentum going?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We all did.
Yeah. Good things come to those who hustle.
The ghost of Tom Torreira is never going to stop stalking every live stream we ever do, is it? One of Tom
Torreira's key concepts was van life and washing your pants in the sink. Is this still relevant in 2026? Girls love it when you wash your pants in the sink.
I think, look, he's got so much good stuff he taught, but the traveling around in a van thinking that's the rock star life, I'm sorry. Like, a girl is not going to favor that over a fucking slick hotel room. It's just not reality.
Yeah. It's not reality. And I think even he realized that after a while, because he started to sideline the van a little bit.
Did he get rid of the van in the end?
No, he didn't get rid of it, but I think he left it somewhere and he started staying in apartments again and stuff. Because I think even he realized, oh, actually, this is not really.
It's also just not very convenient. You're rolling around in a van. Like, it's just like, why not have a shower on, a nice music set up on your laptop, some dim lighting, some drinks in the fridge. It's just easier in a hotel room or an apartment. Just make it easy for yourself, not harder.
And then we got one more here. Did you go through shit with friends talking shit about you doing cold approach and even trying to stop you doing it? Like,
yes, I wouldn't talk to your friends. I wouldn't. It's the first rule about Fight Club. I really wouldn't start bringing in your mates who are not on the same path to this journey and trying to preach to them like I did. It was a disaster. I was trying to shove the rational mail down people's throats that didn't want to know. And it's like, you find this stuff because you realize you've got one life and you decide, right, I'm not happy with my lot here. I've got to do something about this. But don't expect people from your former life to all come along with you, clapping and cheering. It doesn't happen. Actually, you'll probably end up losing a few friends as you develop and start leveling up, because they don't, as bad as it sounds, often friends don't necessarily, unless they're on a similar path, they don't want to see you succeed. It sounds very dark, but it's crabs in the bucket.
One of the problems that a lot of guys have is if you've got a core group of friends and you've known them all since you were 12 and all that, then you start doing something that's a little bit outside of their reality, that can be difficult for people to take. So then you have to make a decision. Well, do I continue to associate with these people? Do I hang out with them, but I'll do this stuff separately? Or do I just cut them out because I feel like they're holding me back? And ultimately, that's a decision that you have to make. But
you've got to be ruthless. You've got to cut people out, right? You've got to. I'm big on this idea. Some really good ideas. We'll do it on another stream. But I put through the other day, right? If I was a billionaire, but not with money, with time, how would I spend it? And the boss was like, relentlessly allocate your time, because it's your non-renewable resource. You never get it back. Every day that passes by, you get less energy, less time, less attention until you die, right? So if someone isn't fully aligned with you, either male or female, I'm sorry, just get rid of them. In fact, you don't even need to do some big song and dance going, making a big stand. You just stop messaging them. That's it, right? And it sounds ruthless, but you know what? We have such limited time. It's not ruthless. It's prioritizing yourself because you're the main character in your life. Now, you don't have to start then slagging the person off. I don't believe in that as well. Wish them well, actually. It's a way healthier mindset. But just realize that everyone's at a totally different path to you at different stages on their different paths. Sometimes those paths will align, hopefully for a long time, but often they won't. And it's both men and women. And it's just about being realistic, right? None of this Disney romance thing applied to old friendships as well. If people are in different, I know I've done it. I've cut people out, but I haven't made a big song and a dance going, I hate that person now. It's just like, no, we're no longer aligned. I wish him the best, you know? So I think guys need to be understanding when you start going on this journey of relentless self-development and wanting what you want in life. A lot of people are going to fall by the wayside, but you're going to get other people in who are on similar journeys that you really fucking vibe with, because they're not like School from Circumstance, they're actually people you vibe with on a deeper level who are on a similar tangent to you.
Well, there is the classic old cliche, isn't there? It's about the 5 people you surround yourself with, and I think there is truth in that. I mean, I'm sort of on the fence about it, but I think there is some truth in that.
Yeah.
So, I feel like everyone in my life that sees me doing cold approach turns into Agent Smith. What the fuck? It's natural to want to meet women. Well, it sounds like. I mean, why are you sort of doing it in front of other people that you know, or bringing them into this at all? I mean, I don't really.
If you're serious about this stuff, maybe send us an email and get in touch, man. info@jamestuss.com, troy@realtroyfrance.com, include your WhatsApp number. We can have a chat, because it sounds like you could do with some feedback, like everyone could, obviously. Yeah. We have waffled on long enough, 90 minutes on a Sunday. Enough for United to have scored the winner. So we will call it a day there, and we will resume shortly. It's been a pleasure, gents.
Absolutely. See you later.